Hello everyone, what is happening? I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video here at Most Amazing Top 10. Now I for one used to be an avid video gamer. I had the PS1, PS2, PS3, I even played a bunch of PC games, and let's not forget all the good old times on the Nintendo DS. But of course there are always some games here and there that cause a lot of controversy, so much so that they end up getting banned. Worse than that, they just become straight up illegal to play. So let's find out more. Just a disclaimer, these games vary. Some are illegal, some are banned, and some have just stopped being distributed depending on what part of the world you live in. I feel like a broken record saying this, but of course, as always guys, like and subscribe to this channel and to Top 10 Hindi videos as well if you haven't already. But enough of me rambling, let's just jump straight into it, she says after rambling for like 30 seconds. This is the top 10 games that are illegal to play. Starting us off with number 10 is Rape Play, and I wish I could say the game isn't as bad as its title or sugarcoat it in any way possible, but I really can't. Rape Play was a 3D erotic game made by the Japanese company Illusion and was released in 2006. The game is single player and the story is quite short and quite horrendous. You play as the main male character Masaya Kimura, who basically gets arrested for groping a woman on the train. He then decides to stalk that girl who reported him and her sister and mother and rapes all three of them. There are two possible endings to the game, but thankfully both result in Masaya dying. Surprisingly, this game wasn't banned straight away, but 3 years after its release, a member of British Parliament got the game banned and got Amazon to remove it from its website. And I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory as to why, because it promotes this violent behavior, so let's just move on to the next one. Coming in at number 9 is Manhunt 2. Released by renowned developer of controversial games Rockstar Games, released a sequel psychological horror stealth video game back in 2007. The game follows Daniel Lamb, a mental patient who suffers from amnesia, while trying to uncover who he really is, and Leo Casper, who's a sociopathic assassin. The game focuses on stealth attacks, which usually come in the form of attacking the person from behind, undetected, and there are 3 levels of execution, each more gruesome than the previous one. The sequel includes using firearms for executions and using objects around the player like telephones or toilets to also execute the victim. In the first one, you could also even suffocate your victims with a plastic bag. Despite this game ranking number 1 in the Gamer Angst's list of top 25 goriest games of all time, this game had mixed to positive reviews. However, the game was just deemed as way too gory. It was refused classification in the UK, and even after Rockstar went back and added some filters to the gore, like removing all but 2 decapitations in the game, that's an improvement, I guess, it still ended up being banned from sale in South Korea, Germany, Ireland, Kuwait, New Zealand, and Saudi Arabia. Seeing the screenshots of this game, it really is gore to the max, and I'm not one that's really disgusted by gore, but it's a lot. At number 8 now, we have Grand Theft Auto. Now I've played GTA 5 and San Andreas, the latter being my favorite, and it's funny because growing up my sister used to mute the game so I couldn't hear the characters swearing while I played. And I know you can do bad stuff in the game, but I didn't realize it was banned in so many countries. If you haven't played it, GTA has you playing as the main character and you complete missions and achieve your objectives in the story. But when you're not playing the story, you're free to roam around the world you're in, free to run over people if you want, fight with whoever you want, just you name it, you can do it in GTA. The game does have a lot of violence in it, as well as general mayhem and sexual content. Way back in 2008, a man called Paul Wachino was riding in a cab in Bangkok, and when it was time to pay the cab driver, he stabbed him to death, citing GTA, saying killing seemed easy in the game. The game was banned in Thailand after that. Different components of the series are also banned in Brazil, China, Japan, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and the UAE. Filling our number 7 slot is Standoff. Originally titled Active Shooter, already problematic, the first-person shooter game was developed by Russian game developer Anton Makarevsky and was originally set for release in 2018. The plot of the game is pretty simple. The setting is a school shooting, and you can either take the role of the active shooter or a SWAT team member responding to an SOS about the event. As the player, you can choose whichever weapon you'd like knives, guns, grenades, etc., and your death toll of police and civilians is tallied live on your screen. I feel like this is such a horrendous idea. I don't know why Anton even thought this would be a good premise for a video game, but anyway, this game obviously attracted a lot of controversy. Parents of the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting victims got 100,000 signatures while petitioning against it. The game was cancelled and the platform was removed from Steam as well, and good riddance. Now at number 6 is Gal Gun Double Peace. Now this game is a rail shooter Bishoko game developed by Inti Creates, and it was released in Japan in 2015 and worldwide the following year. And it's a sequel to the original Gal Gun released in 2011, and the game is set at an academy in Japan and basically follows an unpopular male student called Hude Kudoki. A student Cupid, I know that doesn't make sense but go with it, hits Hude with 32 times the original intended amount, and then soon after the whole school is in love with him. So much so they start hurting him in a way involving bondage, you could say. The game follows him shooting his female classmates with pheromone shots while he desperately tries to find his true love girlfriend before sunset, because if he doesn't, he'll face a lifetime alone. The game has been banned in countries like New Zealand and the UAE for supporting and promoting the exploitation of children and the use of coercion and force during sexual conduct. Coming in at number 5 is Postal 2 or Postal Squared. This is a black comedy shooter video game released by Running with Scissors back in 2003. Black comedy basically just means jokes about things that are taboo like death, mental illness, sexuality, discrimination, racism, etc. The game follows Postal Dude going through the week, and each day he has a bunch of mundane tasks he has to do, like buy milk, do groceries, etc. As the player, you can do these tasks peacefully, or you can choose to do them as violently as you want. The choice is yours. Throughout the game, you're provoked by basically everyone in the game almost all the time. A year after its release, the Office of Film and Literature Classification banned the game in New Zealand for excessive levels of violence as well as animal abuse. And that's not even the worst the game has to offer. This game is interesting because it's hard to sort of ban or hate it because it really only gets as bad as you let it get. You can finish the game harming no one, or you can finish it while killing everyone. At number 4 now is Hatred. Now this game is an isometric shoot 'em up video game released by Destructive Creations in 2015. This game follows the main character who's a misanthropic mass killer who's on a genocide crusade mission trying to kill as many people as he can. For what reason? There is none. Its trailer release alone back in 2014 had already garnered a lot of controversy, and by the time it was released it got severely negative reviews. The game pretty much has no message or moral whatsoever other than a slew of endless violence, and I don't get why someone would create a game full of that much death and destruction just because. Some of the pictures I saw of this game are so graphic and dark, I was just thinking to myself, I don't know who would play this happily. I mean, you're talking genocide for fun, like that isn't a joke. The game was removed by Valve Corporation from their Steam Greenlight service for a while, but was brought back and re-released. For what reason, I have no idea. Filling our number 3 slot is Custer's Revenge. Now this game is old. I'm talking released in 1982 by Atari, 2600 old. This game is an adult video game with the main character being General George Armstrong Custer, who is famous for being a commander in the American Civil War and for his colossal defeat at the Battle of Little Bighorn. The player of the game controls Custer wearing absolutely nothing but a cavalry hat, a bandana, and boots with a very noticeable erection. Your obstacles in the game are arrows being thrown at you, and your aim is to avoid the arrows and reach the other side of the screen so you can have sex with a Native American woman tied to a pole. Yeah, you heard that right. The original game was packaged as not for sale to minors, and it sparked a lot of controversy, and rightfully so. Anti-sex feminist Andrea Dworkin even claimed it physically generated a lot of gang rapes of Native American women. There's no empirical data to back up her claim, but many cities really wanted to ban the game, but only one actually ended up doing it. Shout out to you, Oklahoma City. Now at number 2 is The Guy Game, and from the title you can maybe see where this game is headed. Maybe. The Guy Game was an adult video game made by Top Heavy Studios, and was actually the first and last game they ever released. It was released in 2004 and follows a trivia game show style with 4 people being able to play at once. The game has 20 episodes altogether and features a total of 1,000 questions. Now you're probably sat there thinking there doesn't really seem anything wrong with this game so far. Wrong, my friend, very wrong. The game is mostly composed of live action footage of girls in bikinis aptly named the hotties, and if you do well in the game, then the hotties eventually take their bikinis off and show you their boobs. There's actually a flashometer in the game, so the more correct answers you give, the higher the meter goes and the more exposed the boobs become. The game actually ended up as part of a lawsuit because one of the girls in the game wasn't told her boobs were going to be used to promote the game, and she was 17 years old when it was recorded, thus making her underage. The game was removed from the market real quick, and now it's a distant dream or nightmare, most likely a nightmare. And finally, at number 1 is Sad Satan. Already the name is weird enough, so you can imagine what's about to follow. This was a PC game published by ZK and was downloaded to the Tor network via a deep web internet forum by an unknown developer back in 2015. I say back like it was ages ago when it was really only 4 years ago, but the name of the game is alluding to the Led Zeppelin song Stairway to Heaven, which apparently if you play backwards you can hear satanic lyrics. This was the last game featured on the YouTube channel Obscure Horror Corner before the channel stopped operating for unknown reasons. Some people say the person behind the channel is the real developer of the Sad Satan game and it was all just a publicity stunt. The game basically features you walking down a bunch of monochromatic hallways and hearing audio tapes that keep looping over and over again. The selection of audio tapes is of course creepy as hell, interviews from murderer Charles Manson, as well as distorted audios of other tapes. It also shows pictures of murder victims, people being beheaded, and people being hit by vehicles. Other than the main player, the only other characters in the game are children that stand and do not interact with you or move at all. An updated version of the game was uploaded by someone claiming to be ZK, but that was actually a virus and people's computers started slowing down considerably or straight up not working at all. And that's all for today's video, guys. I'm very intrigued at what the comment section of this video will be because I really want to know if you guys have even played any of these games and what you thought. And for the other games on this list, what do you think? Did they deserve to get banned? Did they not? Let me know what you think in the comments below and I'll respond to as many of you as I can. As always, I'm your host Ayman Hassan and I'll see you next time. Bye!